high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it.
We have to make our own hope happen.
We're seeing a great realignment. We know that there's going to be a red wave in November. I'm traveling the country and I'm seeing people that are angry and motivated.
There's still a lot of fight left in the American citizens. We're going to win, and those people are going to lose. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's great to see all of you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know about you, but I'm mad right now. And let's just think about this last week. In the last week, we had Mark Kelly vote to hire 87,000 new IRS agents. By the way, to go audit you, to go audit small businesses, to go after enemies of the state and people that are a threat to the Democrat Party. I can guarantee you this, that conservatives or people here tonight, that's who the IRS is going to go after. So that's the first thing. And then we're supposed to believe that these two things aren't related. 87,000 new IRS agents. And then the crossing of the Rubicon. The action that will never be able to be undone. The moment in time that we'll all remember when the Federal Bureau of Investigation, with 270 man-hours and 30 agents, went into Mar-a-Lago to desecrate and, dare I say, invade a president's home over a paperwork dispute. And a paperwork dispute. And by the way, they let Hillary Clinton smash devices and delete 33,000 emails. Where's the FBI raid for Hunter Biden and Chinese Communist Party deals? Where is the FBI raid for all these other people? And I'm telling you right now, what they did this last week, 87,000 new IRS agents going into Mar-a-Lago, it's very clear what's happening here. There's no going back. This is no longer a debate of tax policy. It's no longer a debate of, well, you know, I think the Democrats mean very well. We just have different ways of getting there. They raided our president's home. There is no going back from this, everybody. There is no going back. And we need to send a message to the media right now because we got a lot of them. We got the New York Times and all of them. The raid at Mar-a-Lago only makes me like Donald Trump even more. It shows that they can't win elections. It's democracy is what they always say. By the way, we're a republic, not a democracy. Big difference. We are a constitutional republic. Thank you for listening to the Charlie Kirk Show, by the way. It's a great student right there. But it's very clear. They want to intimidate you. They want to silence you. They want to make you afraid that you might be the next person to receive an audit, that you might be the person at 4 a.m. where the FBI comes into your home. That right there, as we call it, the crossing of the Rubicon, is them saying to us, we now have an internal police state. Now understand why they have to do this, though. And this is the silver lining. They're doing this because they saw the results of the Arizona primary. They're doing this because Trump-endorsed candidates are winning Secretary of State's races, winning governor's primaries. They're winning Senate primaries. The more you attack the America First MAGA movement, the stronger we become. You see, they can't win using normal means. They don't want to have a policy discussion. Their ideas are failing. Their principles are against everything that we believe as Americans. They have to go to third world tactics. In fact, this is fourth world stuff. The third world's looking at us and saying, you're going after a former president for a potential paperwork dispute after there was a meeting in early June with the same FBI. And then Merrick Garland comes out and says, I personally approved the raid. Let me tell you what, day one, Republicans take back the House and the Senate. We impeach Merrick Garland and we remove him as Attorney General of the United States. We're not going to put up with this anymore. The new conservative movement would roll over and say, you know, whatever, it's the FBI. No, not anymore. It is very clear, and you've seen all this online maybe one or two different times. That wasn't just a raid against Trump. That was a raid against your values. That was a raid against you. That is a presidential landmark where treaties were signed, deals were negotiated. That's a desecration of the conservative movement. And they say, well, we're a very non-political branch of law enforcement is what we are. They are the shock troops of the Democrat Party is what they have become. But understand, in reaction to that raid, it was interesting to see how the Republican Party responded. Now, some people responded beautifully and wonderfully with disgust and outrage, the same way you did. But do you notice how some Republicans were very vanilla in their response? Where they said, well, we have to allow this to play out. We have to allow this to unfold. You see, what makes the America First MAGA movement so unique, so dangerous, is that we're not just fighting for freedom and liberty, but we're against the uniparty. We're against the Republicrats and the Democrats that always get us into foreign wars unnecessarily, keep our borders wide open, deindustrialize our economy, and they just want us to talk about issues that don't really matter. You see, it was very interesting to see the Republican Party. Some were very good. I mean, Blake Masters was wonderful. Carrie Lake was terrific. You see the people running here, but many people in the establishment of Washington, D.C., they say, well, you know, we can't attack the FBI for what they did here. And I think all of you know better. You know that right now, one of the greatest threats to our liberty, it's not happening in Ukraine, it's in our own government against our people. And let me be very clear, I don't like saying that. I wish I trusted our federal law enforcement. I want to trust the people in the FBI. I'm sure there's some phenomenal people that are doing some great work there. But it's more in the boots and the suits. But how many times do we have to make excuses for these people? They spied on Donald Trump, and we know with Peter Strzok's text messages with his lover, Lisa Page. Well, he's not going to win, is he? We have insurance policy. They lied about the dossier. They destroyed evidence. Did James Comey's apartment ever get raided? How about Andy McCabe? But it's not just Trump, Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon. Scott Perry had a cell phone taken. Wake up, everybody. They are weaponizing the police against you. And guess what? You know what they fear? They fear what's happening here tonight. Bigger crowds, more momentum, more energy. We need to send a message to them. The more you raid, the more we gather. The more you confiscate, the louder we get. You do not get to determine the rules of engagement anymore. The people are back in charge, not federal law enforcement. Equal justice is a promise. If you're going to raid over a paperwork dispute, I just would love to see what equal justice would look like with Hunter Biden. We have a wonderful person, Donald Trump, that I think is going to run again in 2024, and I think a lot of people are going to be behind him. But here's the good news. You live in the state that gets to determine all of this. You live in the state that is now the battleground. 50-50. Hundreds of millions of Democrat dollars are coming into this state because as Arizona goes, America goes. You see, we get messages all the time on the Charlie Kirk Show, on our Real America's Voice show, and our Salem Radio Network show. Thank you guys for listening and supporting us. Where they say, Charlie, what can I do? And I always ask, well, where do you live? And they say Massachusetts or New York or Oregon. I say prayer is great, and fasting and praying and helping our program at Turning Point Action. And thank you, by the way, for supporting our great work at Turning Point Action. We're in the grassroots. We're making things happen. But here's the good news, everybody. You don't live in Martha's Vineyard. If you did, I'd be a little suspicious why you'd be at a rally on Sunday evening. Anyway, it's a different story. You live in the place where everything you do matters. You live in the state where if America is going to survive as a constitutional republic, separation of powers, independent judiciary, respect for the unborn, protection of our children, it's all going to happen here. And so the question in front of us is, how do we act? How do we organize? What do we do? You see, I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. Any Chicago transplants here? You see, we say we're from Chicago. The best thing about being from Illinois is we have term limits, a little different than Arizona. It's 1 term in office, 1 term in jail. When we ask for our governor's cell number, we literally mean the place Hunter Biden should go to, right? That's what we mean. I moved to this state for a reason. I know a lot of you did as well. We love our, 42nd generation Arizonans like Tyler, 7th generation, whatever it is. We love the people that built Arizona. We're thankful for them. We came here because this is a liberty-loving, freedom-loving state. We came here not to California, not to Colorado, because we saw this as the best of America. You know what I love about Arizona? No one cares who your parents are. No one cares about where you came from. It's what are you doing? What's your character? That doesn't happen everywhere. You go to most states, they say, oh, well, who are you related to? Or tell me, what are you going to do for me? In Arizona, it's show me. Are you able to do the work? Are you able to put the commitment in? Arizona still has that Western spirit where, in a bizarre turn of events, we have two contradictory things where we have some of the best Second Amendment laws in the country, praise God, and at the same time, we pass all these wacky tax measures and legalization of marijuana. There's kind of a contradiction there. At the same time, we love our freedom here in this state. We love our liberty. And what's going on is a steady, well-funded, deliberate, deceitful campaign to turn this into the next Colorado, into the next California. The math is very simple. If they succeed, there will be no way to ever get back to conservative majorities in the U.S. Senate or to ever get a Republican elected as President of the United States. Everything we are doing here in Arizona, everything Turning Point Action is doing, matters more than ever before. And so the question in front of all of us is, what does that mean? We got to go register more voters. We have to get into the precincts. Here's what I could promise you. Mark Kelly will run the same dumb advertisement over and over again and will outspend Blake Masters 5-1. I guarantee it. So the question is, are we just going to complain about it, or are we going to do the difficult and necessary work to organize the precincts, to be volunteers? See, we have to understand that the left is going to get fat and lazy off of the amount of money that they don't even have to work for. The funding coming in, the big billionaire oligarchs that fund out of state to turn Arizona. You know what that makes us? That means we have to be more resilient. We have to be more creative. We're going to have to put in more hours. We're going to have to spend more time in the grassroots. But long term, I would much rather be the movement that has to scrap for every inch than has some out-of-state billionaires that pour money in to try to change Arizona. We're going to outwork you. We're going to knock on more doors. We're going to register more voters. We're going to wake up early, right, Austin, on Saturday mornings and do Super Saturdays. We are going to put in more hours than they are and allow them to go run these silly advertisements. I actually think it's going to backfire on the Mark Kelly campaign. I really do. I think that he's going to lose votes because people will say, I don't care what he stands for. If I have to watch another Mark Kelly ad, it's the most unbelievable thing. And by the way, what a liar Mark Kelly is. Can I just say that again? And let me also say, Katie Hobbs is one of the most unimpressive people. I saw an advertisement for her. I said, she's running for public office? With what constituency exactly? Here's the thing. They think the people of Arizona can be manipulated through crafty television advertisements and through all of these kind of deceptive wording and meaning. But here's the thing they underestimate and they don't understand, is they don't understand how hard we are going to work. And they also don't understand how good our candidates are. You see, for how long in Arizona, I know many of you have been waiting, can we just get a real conservative to run for the U.S. Senate? You have one, everybody, a legit conservative. You've been saying, can we just get a real conservative to run for governor? Oh, you have a real conservative running for governor, let me tell you what. And there's so many things that are on the ballot box right now. You see, the media always says you can't talk about what's happening in our classrooms. And this is something that we talk about all the time at Turning Point. We talk about the war on our children. And, you know, we call them groomers, and they are groomers, by the way. You go after children with this perverse sex education. You go after them with CRT. You go after them with chemical castration drugs. You belong in jail, not in the classroom, period. It's all about our children. Arizona is a pro-family state, and it needs to remain as one. Make Mark Kelly explain why he voted for 87,000 new IRS agents. Make Katie Hobbs explain why she won't ever give a direct answer on critical race theory in the Scottsdale Unified School District, why she won't give a clear answer about this queer theory sexual identity curriculum that is coming into our government schools. We must play offense in this election, everybody. You see, this is something the media fears. This is why they had to raid Mar-a-Lago. They fear, all of a sudden, a conservative movement that wholeheartedly rejects the issues that they always want you to talk about. You see, when we talk about our children, when we talk about the issues that are fundamental as the strong protecting the weak, as a society that is not going to put up with this sort of academic predatory behavior, you know what ends up happening? We win in major numbers. You know when conservatives lose? Conservatives lose if all of a sudden we get up on the debate stage, which has happened in Arizona the last couple election cycles. We say, well, you know, I think Mark Kelly is a wonderful man. No, Mark Kelly's not a wonderful man, actually. And I'm tired of people, well, he's such an admirable person. You know what? Admirable people don't vote for 87,000 new IRS agents, okay? Admirable people don't go and vote for multi-trillion-dollar bills while we are having this massive inflation. You see, right now, the conservative movement, all of us together, we're going through a time of choosing and also a moment where we're going to have to understand our path forward. Now, as we have these amazing candidates, this is my one fair thing of warning, and this is what you're all here tonight. You understand many people in the Arizona Republican establishment want Blake Masters to lose. You understand this, right? Or to make Kari Lake lose. They would much rather deal with Mark Kelly or Katie Hobbs and say, see, I told you so. See what happens when you elect these grassroots candidates? It's the I told you so crowd. This happens all the time. You're not allowed to say this out loud. So what does that mean? Well, they might have all the crony Chamber of Commerce special of interest, but we have the people. We have people that are rising up in record numbers. We have pastors, we have parents, we have plumbers, we have electricians, we have police officers, we have people that are in the muscular class in our country. And by the way, we need far less people going to college and more people that work with their hands in America, by the way. This new conservative movement is one that fights. It organizes. It understands that the time is unlike anything we've lived before. Someone asked me the other day on our program, they said, Charlie, you know, do you think America is going to make it through all of this? I said, it's wholly dependent on our action. You see, if I told you right now that I was optimistic about the future of America, you'd say, well, I get to go home right now, and Charlie said he's optimistic, so I don't have to do anything. If I said I was pessimistic, you could go home and you could say, well, I don't have to do anything because Charlie said we're going to lose. Here's what I do know. We have to make our own hope happen. Is that everything, the money you give, the prayers that you embark on, the precincts you organize, the candidates you support, every single one of those things is going to make a huge difference. Now, many of you here tonight are probably saying, Charlie, I've done everything that has been asked of me. I watch Tucker Carlson every night. I bought the pillow. Promo code Kirk, by the way, at mypillow.com, just so we're clear. I have a closet full of Relief Factor. I reverse mortgaged my home. I have more gold than I know what to do with. I have that thing that goes up the stairs. I don't even know what it does. What else am I supposed to do? And here, look, I'm all for watching Tucker and watching Bannon and watching our program, but let's be honest. Conservatism in America and reclaiming our country is no longer a spectator sport. We need people in the arena. Now, how do you know if you are in the arena? You know you're in the arena if you have lost something that you cared about recently in the fight for freedom. A friendship, a business contract. You see, and there's people, this is the cool thing though, not everyone has to be front and center. You could be in the fight for freedom in the background. Some people say, you know what, I'm going to financially support the good candidates. I'm going to just be behind the scenes. We need every single one of the workers at every possible level to be able to organize, to be able to do what is necessary. And again, this is something that is very important. The Republican Party is in a much healthier position than the Democrat Party. They are a machine. And the problem with machines is that they tend to fall apart. You see, they have interchangeable parts. Mark Kelly just does exactly what's been asked of him. All this out-of-state money comes in. We have independent thinkers. We have grassroots candidates. We have people that are challenging the status quo. We're able to fill up arenas for out-of-state governors that come to Arizona. I mean, it's an unbelievable thing. We're in a much healthier position. And on that question of whether or not we are going to win, I'll close with this story. The greatest man to live in the 20th century was Winston Churchill. Churchill was the only man that was smiling the morning after Pearl Harbor. He walked into his war cabinet meeting with a cigar and a thing of whiskey, kind of chuckling and smiling, while the rest of his war cabinet was somber and depressed and upset. He walks in and proclaims to his war cabinet, "Gents, we have won the war." His war cabinet said, "Sir, what?" He said, "We have won the war." And some brave soul stepped up and said, "Have you lost your bloody mind? We are losing thousands of Royal Air Force members every single day. They are blitzkrieging London. They bombed a hospital. We barely got our troops out of Dunkirk. They're planning an amphibious invasion of Brighton and the southern tip of our Isle. What do you mean we have won the war?" And Churchill took a sip of whiskey and a puff of his cigar, and the room stayed eerily silent. He said, I've studied the Americans and I've got to know them. They may be slow to the game, but let me tell you, once the Americans have awakened, the war is over. And I proclaim to you right now, after Pearl Harbor, the America has awakened and the war is over. Everybody, we awaken, we win. God bless you.